All right. Good evening, everybody. The Wargames Podcast number 42, right? That's what I said right before we live, right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I was just telling Locke that I always forget which goddamn number we're on, even though I set the title right before I go live. So yeah, we got number 42 tonight. And as I alluded to there, joining me tonight is the one and only Locke, who I'm sure all of you have missed dearly. What's up, Locke?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, as you guys know, we didn't do the podcast yesterday. We're making up for it today. The lobster is actually working, or probably on his way home from work by now, which is why he is not with us tonight. But like I said, we do have Locke with us. Those of you guys that don't know, Locke is actually the son of a bitch that is responsible for this podcast. He was the one that first told me to start fucking doing it. So, yeah, you guys can all blame him for being subjected to this. It's all your fault, damn it.
He's just giving you the bit of push you needed, that's all, you know.
It's like, God, I'm tired of hearing your fucking voice. Go make somebody else listen to it. So, as per usual, a few things we're going to be talking about tonight. First and foremost thing that I want to go over, I guess, is the announcement we had this week from NVIDIA. Or I think it was this week. I'm pretty sure it was. So for anybody that doesn't know, NVIDIA has announced the new family of GPUs, being the 20 series. We got the 2060, 70, 80, and 80 Ti. Now the 2070, 80, and 80 Ti are of the new Turing family. The 2060 is still going to be the Pascal family, which is what we have currently. Now, there isn't a ton of shit that we know about these new cards. They were really hyping the ray tracing ability that it has, which basically is dealing with lights and shadows and stuff like that, just making things really beautified. But the big thing to kind of point out from that basically is actually something that I picked up from Jay's 2 cents video, which was what these cards are doing in terms of real-time ray tracing. Why it's so mind-blowing. Why NVIDIA was so just kind of adamant about how amazing this was. Ray tracing is something that's done in like big Hollywood movies for like CGI and stuff. And it is stuff that is done over days and weeks of time. This card does it in real time, which is why it's such an amazing breakthrough and why NVIDIA has been working on this for a decade. Now, in terms of raw, brute fucking power, we don't know yet what these cards are capable of. Nobody's gotten their hands on them. No review copies have gone out yet or anything like that. A lot of people are suspecting it's going to be kind of the norm, 20 to 25% increase to the previous family, which is what we've seen over pretty much every generation of NVIDIA cards. Has been about a 20 to 25% increase in capability. So, knowing that, that we're probably seeing 20 to 25% increase, and it has this ray tracing. Okay, that seems like pretty cool. They're powerful cards and so on. One thing to keep in mind is this ray tracing is something that needs to be developed in the game. One of the first games that's going to be doing that is the new Tomb Raider. I think it's Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the newest one that's coming out this year. That's one of the first games to implement this ray tracing shit. So it is going to be able to look very beautiful. Now, at the same time, there was an article or something posted on Reddit about these guys that did a hands-on at the NVIDIA Gamescom or wherever the fuck it was they were at. And they played the new... shit. What's the goddamn game I was just saying? Tomb Raider. There we go. They played the new Tomb Raider with one of the new cards, 2080 Ti, at 4K 144 hertz monitor. Okay, so this is as beefy as you can possibly get. 4K at 144 hertz. I mean, there's nothing right now better than that. Well, I guess there's like some 8K shit and some really out there stuff, but basically, was as powerful as it gets. And they were only getting 30 frames per second. And people were freaking the fuck out that these guys reportedly only got 30 frames per second with this setup. Couple of things to keep in mind there. Okay. One, it's 4K at 100 on 144 hertz monitor. No card right now is capable of pushing that stronger with real-time ray tracing. Why that's important, again, this real-time ray tracing is shit that takes massive computers doing CGI work days and weeks to do. And this is doing it in real time and still getting 30 frames per second, which is insanely impressive. So what it basically means is these cards are absolute fucking overkill for anything you can possibly throw at it, including 4K, without the real-time ray tracing. Like, if you don't have ray tracing turned on and you're playing at 4K, this card is still going to be perfectly fine. It's going to beast it. Now, there's also been concern, as Liquid put in chat there, of the price. The 2080 Ti is starting at $1,200. Something you have to remember. The 2080 Ti is the Titan card for this family. They're not going to release a 2080 Titan 3 months down the road. The 2080 Ti is the most powerful card that NVIDIA is making in this family. Right off of Jump Street, they're showing you their full fucking deck. They're not doing any partial release or anything like that like we've seen in the past, where, you know, the card releases and then, like I said, 3 months later, you all of a sudden get a Titan card. They're not doing that this time around because it does piss off so many people when they get a TI and then turn around and a month later or 2 months later, the Titan is announced. So they're not doing that. So the 2080 Ti is the most powerful touring card that you can get. That's why it's $1,200. And if you go back and look, all of the Titan cards that have been released are $1,000 to $1,200 at launch. Same goes for the other series, or sorry, the other, I guess, levels, the 2080 and the 2070 and so on. Every one of those cards is within $50 of the launch price of the family previous. So the prices really are not outrageous at all. They're right on par with what they've been in the past. Especially considering the prices that we've seen as of late with video cards. Granted, they are very much so dropping now, thankfully. Yeah, it's not that bad. To get a 2080 for $800 and have the capability that it has right now, it's pretty goddamn good. Like, right now, you can pre-order some of the 2080s actually for as little as $750 from a couple of the different outside manufacturers. You can't get one of the founders cards from NVIDIA for that cheap, but some of the like EVGA and stuff like that, you can get one for $750, which is pretty damn good. Like I said, for the capability of this card, it's genuinely impressive. Now, it's going to be a year or two before we really see games that are taking full advantage of what these cards are capable of. In my opinion, that's fine. When you look at the Pascal series, we've had these cards for 2.5, almost 3 years by the time the touring cards actually release. So to get we'll say at low end, a 20% increase in performance, plus have this real-time ray tracing availability, I'm okay with that. Like, that's a justifiable, not necessarily justifiable expense. It's a justifiable amount, in my opinion, for that kind of card, especially considering when I bought my 1080 brand new when they first came out, it was just short of $700. that I paid for the 1080. And unfortunately, I wasn't lucky like fucking Hammer to get the goddamn upgrade program because they weren't running it yet. So I didn't get a fucking TI. But anyways, long short of it is, are the cards worth it? That depends on you, really. If you have a 1070 right now, probably not. You probably don't need it. If you have a 1080 right now, I can almost guarantee you don't really need it, unless you're, playing some really crazy shit. However, the good thing about this new family being released is, if you're on a 960 right now or a 970, you're in a month, you're going to be able to pick up a 1080 for $300-400. I mean, right now you can actually pick up, one of those for about that price. So it's probably going to be even cheaper. So yeah, like music, he has a 970 with 3rd Gen i7. Come September 20th, when the 20 series cards drops, I would not be surprised at all if you start seeing 1080s popping up for $300, which is a screaming fucking deal. So it is going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to upgrade. Locke, what are you currently running right now?
Oh, I just have a 960 in my system right now.
Okay, so you have a 960. I know you've been saving to get a 1070, correct?
Yeah, I'm about 150 or around there, $200 short, probably $150 short of it. So just about.
Right. So come the 20th, you'll probably be able to pick it up. Because my guess would be the 1070s are going to drop to like 250 at most.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think it would really depend on the changes up here in Canada and how soon, that kind of goes through. I'm assuming it'll be all at the same time, though, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and AA Ron's like, it's not about the need. I have a 1070, but I want a 280. Yes, believe me, I understand that very much so. So you guys may wonder then, why does my goal right now say hardware upgrade? Because that's what I'm doing. That's my next purchase, aside from, bills and stuff like that, obviously, that still need to be paid, will be a 2080. Now, you may wonder, why in the fuck would I need a 2080 when I have a 1080? Two reasons, okay? One, I'm a hardware whore. I like to have, not necessarily the absolute top of the line stuff that you can have, because then I would have, tight Nexus and shit like that. But I do like to keep my shit up to date. One of the reasons for that is to keep my games looking as clean as they can in the stream. I know it sounds stupid, but believe me, I've put a lot of time and effort into making shit look at least half-as decent for you guys when I'm streaming. Is a 2080 going to be a huge upgrade to a 1080, for that purpose? Probably not, but it's not going to hurt as well. Now, the other reason is, if I upgrade to a 2080, that means I have a 1080 sitting here that needs a home. Well, the home it's going to take is sitting out in the other room in my brother's PC. He's going to be taking my 1080. Why he's taking my 1080 is because he has a 1070. So it's a minor upgrade for him. But that now means I have a 1070 sitting here that needs a home. And I have a friend that needs a 1070. Someone who has fucking helped me greatly. I.e., if it wasn't for him, you guys wouldn't be watching the stream right now. So I'll be sending him that 1070. I guess it's somewhat of a, I don't know, not necessarily a charitable act. It's just me helping out a friend. But
it's like a thank you for
exactly. There we go. I was looking for a better way to explain it. Yeah, it's basically showing my gratitude for what he has done for me. So yeah, that's the next goal. That's the next thing to kind of push for is to get that 2080, hopefully on or around launch. You know, depending on how things go, and get that put into my system. Swap cards around with my brother, which it's just a matter of fucking unscrewing some tabs and stuffing it in the PCI, and then sending out the 1070 to those that deserve it. So my question is for both Locke and I mean you guys listening as well. Uh, what are what's your thoughts in terms of hardware and upgrading and stuff like that? Obviously, we know that you're working on getting a 1070 yourself, but is it one of those? Why are you upgrading? Is it purely because your 960 is feeling the strain and not really performing as well as you'd like? Or is it, just you want something better so you don't have to upgrade for a little bit longer? What's kind of the reason for you doing an upgrade?
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely feeling the strain. Like when I play most games, I don't get, 60 FPS. I'm getting, not too bad, like 45, depending on the graphics settings, but I can't run everything on ultra. It's going to be on like medium high or something like that. And when I got the 960, I picked it up instead of the 970 just because it was cheaper. And I'm like, I never have enough money to buy like the better card.
Mm-hmm.
So saving up for the 1070 is good because I've never had, like a really good card. Like I could afford a 1060 right now, but why not go one higher, right, for a little bit more? But I definitely need it for streaming and for the games. I just want everything to run smoothly. I don't want to have to mess around.
Right. So at this point, because as you mentioned, they're streaming. You do stream. So do you find yourself? Do you find that streaming kind of incentivizes you to upgrade and try and make the appearance of your stream better and better?
Oh, definitely. Because like if you consider for a smaller channel like mine, if people drop in, the first thing they're going to see is your gameplay. They'll hear you too, and they might like you, but if your game looks like ass, they can just click off and go to somebody else who's got like a better system or whatever. So if your game is looking in tip-top shape, then that's just one less thing that you have to worry about in terms of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Jal asked us, the 1070 need a water cooler? No. No standalone graphics card needs a water cooler. Uh, can they benefit from a water cooler? Yes, but they don't need them. Even my 1080, I mean, I've never had any slight issue with heat or anything like that. CPUs, that's a different story. Like especially my CPU, the 8700. They're very well known for running hot, like very hot. So water is almost a must for an 870. Uh, I know mine, even underwater at like full load rendering a video, will hit into the 60s and even low 70s, which is pretty insane for a CPU that's underwater. Like I said, the 8700s are known for running very hot. So CPU is more so you got to keep an eye on temperature, and that's when you got to worry about water and stuff like that. But GPU is not so much. If as long as you got a case with some decent, airflow and so on, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean those things can reach up to like 100 Celsius, I think, before they start really fucking up.
Yeah,
So
and
they're
I've
designed to be
never
hot.
seen mine go over 80. And at 80 degrees, yes, 80 degrees is hot, but you have to remember 80 degrees is what I'm hitting running VR and streaming at the same time, which is putting a huge load on my GPU, and that's running VR at 90 frames per second and streaming it at 60. So that's a big load on your GPU. Um, so, and you had mentioned in terms of streaming and upgrading and stuff like that, that somebody can come into your channel and see your shit and uh, it may look like shit and they hear you and so on and so forth. Me and Lobster actually talked about this on a previous podcast, and I know you're very much so the same way because we share the passion of music and creating music and so on. But we were talking about audio, and it's, for streaming, like having your audio squared away, having a good clear mic, and your audio level's good and stuff like that. Um, is that something that you, and I already know the answer to this, but is that something that uh you actively like kind of work on and make sure that, hey, my mic sounds good, my audio levels, like you can hear me fine, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I'm pretty bad with everything because I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to
Yeah,
everything. Like,
it's
I'll watch my VODs and I'm like, "Whoa, my voice is a little bit too loud or it's a little too quiet," and I keep adjusting it.
it's
But
because
I have
all fucking true musicians are perfectionists.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, I have an aftermarket sound card, so that helps a lot with just everything, game sounds and putting all together. But having a mixer would help a lot, kind of like you
Hmm.
have. Um, but yeah, audio is definitely the not even the next most important thing, but as equally as important as the visuals and stuff too, because it has to sound good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I would say it's right even with the video. Because even when you look at, like when we do ArmA, ArmA's not the fucking best looking game anymore. It hasn't been in over a decade, so it's never going to look absolutely beautiful. I've got mine looking fairly decent, but it's never, it's not going to look like fucking Battlefield or anything like that, but my sound levels are good. My microphone is clear. I don't have to worry about it sounding like my fucking microphone is bouncing off the back of my tonsils because I have a fucking boom mic and it's right up against my lips. Like, I can't stand that. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when, you're constantly, even though most boom microphones have a pop filter on them, when you're constantly hearing guys, puh, 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 which you know as well as I do from being in studio and shit, motherfuckers, inhaling and doing the P's and the S's are the most annoying shit audio to work with. And it takes a long time to get that shit figured out to where it's still going to be present. It's always going to be present, but it takes a long time to get it kind of leveled out to where it's not going to be as bad, if you understand what I'm saying.
And speaking of audio and games and stuff like that, even if the game's visuals aren't that good, if the audio quality is stellar,
Hmm.
it's going to increase your immersion a lot just by hearing those sounds.
Oh
I
yeah,
found that in
absolutely.
a lot of games.
And do you find, and real quick, Mike, uh, my brother with the 50 bomb, saying the last COD game that he actually enjoyed. Yeah, we Mike, I don't know if you caught any of the streams from the COD streams that we did the other night, bro. But I would highly recommend going back and watching some of those. It was a good time. It was a really good time. There's actually a clip of some stupid shit that happened on the channel here. I would recommend watching that clip. Um, but what do you use right now for headphones? Are you using just like a gaming headset, or do you got like studio monitors?
I've got a HyperX Cloud 1.
Oh, okay. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a headset, but it's a good headset. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't recommend those enough. The Cloud ones and the Cloud twos, those are fucking amazing headsets, man.
Hands down, the most comfortable
Oh
headset
shit, yes.
I've worn in forever. Like I had a Turtle Beach before this, it didn't cut it. Mic sounded like shit, so I took that back and ended up with these, and no regrets, man. It's pretty sweet.
Well, the thing that surprised me with the HyperX Clouds is the earmuff size is big, like a set of studio monitor headphones. Like a really good set of Sennheisers or something like that. That's how the cups are on those, which is what makes them so damn comfortable to me. Um, but yeah, I have to agree, those are fucking amazing headset. Um, and like I use fuck, Audio Technica MX50s, I think they are. Um, which feel almost identical to the HyperX Cloud 2 that I had. It's a little bit better quality of sound, especially in terms of your mids and your lows. Uh, Highs are about the same, but the mids and lows are a little bit crisper They're not quite as muddy as what they are in the HyperX clouds that I had, but overall they're pretty on par with them. But do you find that having kind of that higher quality headset also increases your gaming, if you will?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just being able to hear all the nuances and things on your left or right, having just everything, just brings you into the action and makes you feel like you're really there a lot more. I cannot stand like shoddy audio, you know, have to have top end sound.
Yeah. And that's I've mentioned that before on the stream because I mean, you've played ArmA with me a lot, and so like when I hear a gunshot, I can almost instantly pinpoint where it's at. And a big portion of that is because of my headset, because of the quality of my headphones. I'm able to hear that shit really well. Um, so that is
That
one thing that I really recommend to people is get a good fucking set of headphones or a good headset. Um, the HyperX Cloud 2 is the one I always recommend to everyone. That's like my first recommendation to everybody because, it's a good set of headphones and it has a microphone on it.
yeah, the price point's good too. They're not going to break your bank.
Yeah. Yeah, like even, mine the ATs, I think they were like 150 when I got them. Which isn't bad for, basically studio headphones. There is no, there's no microphone or anything like that on them. They have a 1/4 inch jack and all of that. It's regular studio set. Um, but even at 150, if I didn't have a regular like studio microphone, I couldn't justify spending 150 on something that didn't have a mic. So I would go for the HyperX Cloud 2. But because I have a studio microphone, I can justify only having a pair of headphones. I don't have to have a mic attached to them. Uh, so
Noise canceling as well. Liquid was saying that's
oh yeah, noise canceling. Yes, that's
yeah.
actually we were just talking about that before we went live because that was one of the other things that was mentioned about the new series of cards from Nvidia was how quiet they were going to be and how good the cooling was going to be according to their announcement. They're saying that these are the coolest cards they've ever had in terms of temperatures, not just because they look sweet. And that supposedly they are the coolest running cards they've ever produced. And what's even more impressive about that is that they say under full load, the 2080 Ti, and I can't remember 100%, but I believe they said, I actually watched the announcement live. Now I feel like an idiot for not going back and watching it to get the numbers 100%. But I believe they said under full load, the 2080 Ti is 5 times quieter than the 1080 Ti. I may be wrong on that. It may have been 2 times. I'm not 100% positive. You'd have to look yourself to be absolutely sure. Either way, though, that's fucking impressive. Even if it's only 2 times quieter. Holy fuck. Because, like, even my 1080, if I take my headphones off right now, I might be able to hear the fans. Probably not. But under load, I can hear my GPU fans turn up more than I can hear my case fans because my case fans never crank up unless my CPU is under load. Unless I'm rendering video, my case fans won't really turn up in RPM. But my GPU fans turn up all the time, and I can hear those pretty well if I take my headphones off and my GPU's under load. So if this thing is even quieter, like that's pretty goddamn impressive. Which noise isn't really a huge deal. It's not like you guys can hear, my fans through my microphone or anything like that. But still, it's another cool point, I guess. Especially if they run even cooler. If I can run fucking VR and stream with a 2080 and it's running at like 60 degrees instead of 80 degrees, that's pretty fucking badass. Hopefully that's going to be the case. No, I do not. I don't know. Do they do a wireless version of the HyperX Cloud 2s?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the ones I
I've never
looked at
seen
were,
them.
huh?
I
Because
mean,
yeah, when I was looking at getting the Cloud 1 when I bought this one, I was looking at Cloud 2 and it was wireless.
oh, okay. I
I,
didn't
I
know
think
they did a
so.
wireless one.
I could be
Um,
wrong, but I think they had one. Yeah.
yeah, I won't do wireless. I have to
Yeah.
have fucking analog, man. I cannot do wireless. It looks good. I like how clean everything is. You know, I have a fuck ton of wires running across all my shit. You know, 4 goddamn monitors, my keyboard, mouse, my sound mixer, headphones. I have a fuck ton of cables running across my desk. Like, it looks horrid. But at the same time, I've not personally, but I've had people that I'm playing with have too many bad experiences with wireless to ever convince me to go wireless. Uh, and a big part of that was raiding in Warcraft. I've had guys who have had their wireless mouse die in the middle of a raid or had their
Yeah.
headset die in the middle of a raid. And it's like, motherfucker, I want to choke you right now because you just got us all killed because your fucking batteries died. I hate you. So yeah, no, I can't do wireless, man. I just can't.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like the controlled chaos of having all the wires everywhere. It's like a fucking tech mad scientist,
Yeah.
workshop or something.
Um. Oh, you can't walk away from your computer since you got track IR. Nice. I know Soto's using that now for flying. He's using track IR and his fucking. Did you see Soto's last stream by chance, Lock?
I'm not sure if it was the last one, but I saw the one where he had the mask on and he had the
Yeah.
sound going through. Man, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was the last one. Since we're talking about hardware and shit, any of you guys that don't know Soto for some ungodly reason, Soto is one of our A10 pilots in the unit, and he has an old flight suit and flight helmet from his father and his uncle, uh, and he actually got a device to be able to hook a mic in his flight helmet into his PC so that he can actually wear the oxygen mask while he's flying in game and speak, and you guys hear it and the sound comes through his headset and everything like that. And it is fucking awesome because you legit, like, you hear him breathing in the mask like you hear in fucking movies or whatever. And it's fucking funny to watch because you're just like, oh my fucking god, Soto. But at the same time, it's fucking awesome to see. Like, it's as realistic as it's gonna get. The next closest thing you can do is get like a motion rig and somehow figure out how to wire that into fucking ArmA so you can somewhat feel the motion of his plane.
Didn't they used to have something like that in that arcade game Afterburner?
Yeah.
Did that thing move?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't
The
quite
one,
remember.
yeah, there was a stand-up version and then there was the sit-down version in like the little bowl type thing that would move around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like my favorite arcade game back in the day. Like, I remember when Terminator 2 came out and John Connor was playing that in the arcade, and I was like, I've
Yeah.
played that game before. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
He totally needs one of those things. Probably expensive though, I'm
Well,
assuming.
yeah, the fucking because like from doing racing, because they do motion rigs for racing games, and well, I guess you could probably do it for. It might work for like DCS and shit like that as well. But most of those motion rigs are like 2,500 to 5 grand. I mean, they're insane how much they cost. There's cheaper like DIY shit that I've seen guys do, but yeah, most of the like pre-built shit is you're spending a couple grand for that.
But if that's your only hobby, I guess that's not too bad. You
Well,
know.
that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is, we were talking about the price of the new cards and stuff. And I've talked before about what I have in terms of rig and everything like that. And, I figure right now everything that I have sitting here is roughly 5 grand, give or take. Some people may think that's absolutely insane. Like, holy fuck, you have 5 grand worth of shit sitting there. Yeah, I used to have 3 times that into an engine in my
Yeah,
old drag
exactly.
truck.
You remember my friend Wu? Like he's
Yeah.
got like 4 cars that he just works on. Like 4 fucking
Hmm.
cars.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
it's his
It's
hobby.
in. when you put it in perspective of other hobbies, it it gets cheap real quick. Um, I made a joke the other day to my brother. It was actually the day that the Nvidia cards were announced, and I seen, it was going to be $800 for the 2080. And I made a joke. I was like, "Fuck, maybe I should have stuck with cars." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I've just fucking announced the new GPUs. The 2080s are $800." And he was like, "Bro, we've spent that on tires in a couple of years." Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Because he was right. I mean, it was, when you're talking, even on bikes, when, to get good, really good high quality tires for like my bike, you're talking $600 for front and rear tires. And those tires last a season. With how much we rode, you're talking 1 year that those things last. When I was drag racing, we'd spend $100 a weekend just in fuel. $100 every weekend just in gas.
Yeah, that sounds about right for camping or just doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like I said, when you put it in perspective, it's like, oh, holy fuck, I'm really not spending that much money. Um, and even like guns, you look at getting into collecting guns and stuff like that. Like the one of the 45s that I have, the Kimber that I have, that thing was almost $1,500 brand new. When I came home and bought that, it was just short of $1,500 for a pistol. And that's cheap for something like an AR. $1,500 is a fairly cheap AR. There's guys that spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an AR. Like, I don't know if any of you have seen that fucking monstrosity that Soto has built, but yeah. Has he shown you pictures of it at all? The AR that he built?
No, I've not seen it.
Oh my god. Okay, so you picture your typical AR-15, right? He's got a fucking like rainbow unicorn etched into the side of the fucking lower, and then his grip is like blue anodized aluminum, as is his bolt, and I think his fucking charging handle. It's got a gold trigger on it. I mean, it looks like a fucking unicorn barfed on this goddamn gun. Why?
I would expect no less.
Why the fuck he did it, I have no idea. It's definitely the most unique looking AR I've seen personally, but it's fucking hideous. So those of you guys watching right now, like, come Sunday, Soto should be streaming Sunday. If you go into his stream, ask to see pictures of his new rifle. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's bringing the death from Narnia, man.
Oh my god. And then oh fuck, I forget what his switch says to go from safe and semi-auto and shit. I forget what it says, but it was funny. Like, it's got custom shit etched into the lower receiver in terms of safe and semi-auto and so on. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, dude. Like, he's been building it for a while now, and he's been sending me pictures as he's building it and so on, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? And then he sent me the parts list, and like the trigger that he has in it is a gold trigger, and it was like $200 some for a trigger. It's
Jesus.
Literally, you just pull it and it makes the thing go bang, and it was like $200 some. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Okay, I don't feel so bad about dropping fucking couple $100 on my PC anymore. Damn.
Yeah, that's a lot just for, a single piece like that. I can't imagine spending $200 on just a small, it's an important piece, you have to have it, but man, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. So to get back onto what we were talking about, I guess. I'm honestly interested in this from you because, again, we share so many of the same interests and stuff. Aside from the 1070, what for you right now is like the one thing the one upgrade that you really want to make hardware wise, like a a new microphone, whatever. Like, what's the one big upgrade that you're like, yeah, I'd really like to get my hands on this?
That's a tough question. My chip is pretty good. Like it's an i5 7600K, so that's okay for now. Um, Other than that, it's just streaming. Streaming stuff like a microphone or what was that thing you were talking about before we started? That
Oh, the Stream Deck.
Stream Deck. Yeah, something like that. I think would probably be useful.
Yeah, so
But
that thing I can't fucking recommend enough.
yeah, but other than that, there's really not much else. Just probably a microphone, maybe a mixer. Like we were talking about audio, just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that's good.
Yeah, mixer definitely. Uh, well, really, those kind of go hand in hand though, because you need a microphone that you can utilize with a mixer, and then obviously you need the mixer itself. Uh, I don't know if there's any. There's probably mixers out there that you can just plug USB microphones into. I
Yeah.
personally haven't seen one just because I'm kind of used to the older shit, but there's probably one out there that has USB that you can plug a USB microphone into, I would think.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, if I'm going to go all out like that, I want like an XLR cable because you
Hmm.
get much, much better sound out of those.
Right. Yeah, that's what I use. I will say that it's not necessarily difficult, but especially nowadays, but some of the older stuff, it's not real common to have USB hookup for your like from your soundboard to your PC. So that's one thing you have to make sure of, like when you're getting a sound mixer, is you got to make sure that thing is actually able to hook up to your fucking PC.
Hmm.
So it needs to be able to have that USB cable hooked into the back of it to be able to go into your PC. But yeah, my microphone is XLR into the soundboard, which that was weird. You remember when I was having those microphone issues a while back that it ended up being a bad XLR cable, which is fucking odd. Like, I don't know the last time I seen an XLR cable go bad, aside from one getting like ran over by a fucking guitar rack or an amp rack or something.
Yeah.
Like, XLRs don't go bad. Those things last for fucking decades.
Yeah, typically. I think if you just, like any other wire, if you don't coil them properly, and they just get wear and tear, and then they'll start messing up.
Yeah, it's odd. Oh, that's it. Hardman's got it there. Soda selector switch is safe space triggered and full lib turd. That fucking guy, man. Um, so yeah, so for you, it would be like a stream deck or some audio gear, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. That's really it. Other than the video card, there's not much else to make things perform better, I don't think. Maybe,
No,
a better monitor,
I
because
was
my
just
monitor
gonna
is just a
ask, what are
piece
you
of shit.
running monitor wise?
I've got a BenQ. The hell is this thing? GL 2450. It was like 160 Canadian, so that's like what, $125 US or something. It's just
Sure.
yeah, 1920 by 1080. Nothing special. Probably a 5 millisecond response time.
So is that the only monitor you're running?
No, I've got a second one. I've got the hell is this thing even? It's an Acer. Yeah, it's an Acer.
It's a thing that
It's
shit
a
pops
thing.
up on it.
Yeah, it's so old I don't even know, but it's just a 1080, so it's nothing too fantastic.
Yeah, that was actually something that I was talking about Sunday for the Task Force Alpha stream. That I had upgraded my primary monitor. I had swapped out TVs with my brother, gave him my 32, and now I have a 43 uh, inch TV as my primary monitor. Um, and it's like really weird to game on something this big.
Hmm.
Uh, and guys, are probably like, well, why would you want to play on, a TV that big and it only has 60 hertz refresh rate and so on? Yeah, I don't really need 144 hertz monitor. Like, I honestly don't. You have to remember the primary game that I play is fucking ArmA, which has no benefit from 144 hertz monitor. It just doesn't. Uh, so I'm good with just the 1080p at 60 hertz. Yes, my PC is capable of pushing more, but I'm happy with where it is right now, and it looks, at least half-ass decent for you guys. I know obviously there's still always pixelation and shit like that, but do what you can with it. I have realized though that turning off the grass in ArmA for me has helped a ton. Like, it does make the game look better.
Oh yeah, it's way, way better when you turn the grass off.
Yeah,
but I was going to say real quick that getting the 1070 actually would benefit me because I want to get a 27-inch monitor. So if you're running, a monitor with a higher resolution, you need a more powerful GPU, right, to compensate for that. So that's another reason. But yeah, grass is a pain in the ass in ArmA.
Yeah, I hadn't really noticed how different it was until I was watching something from Loster. And Loster doesn't have the greatest system, but he's still able to play, competently and still able to stream. But I was watching his, and then we started watching a clip from mine, and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that is like a huge fucking difference. Like, it almost looks like a completely different game for me compared to him. And I was like, wow, I hadn't noticed how big of a difference it is, because I don't watch that many streams. Like, I don't watch people's ArmA videos and stuff like that. And that, I know I sound like a dick because I'm always, wanting people to watch my ArmA shit, and I don't watch anybody else's really. But it's not a matter of like, yeah, I don't like you, I don't want to watch your shit. I was there. Like, I know what happened the vast majority of the time. If there's, a clip or something like, hey, watch this was nuts, yeah, I'll watch that. But I know the gist of what happened in the operation. So I don't really, I've got other stuff that I need to take care of, other stuff I need to watch, and so on and so forth. I don't want to sit there for 2 hours and watch a video of an operation that I already did, because I'm in every operation. Which is the same thing, even like with Drum. Like, Drum will be like, hey, did you see such and such that happened in my video? No, motherfucker, I don't watch your videos. I was there. I was standing next to you. I know what happened. I know you got knocked out. I was there. I was probably the one that shot you, actually. At least I hope so. Yeah, I said lost or incompetent in the same sentence. Pretty much. And yes, turning the grass off does help your frames a little bit. I was actually, me and Hammer were talking about that just the other night, that there was one point in Sunday's operation where I hit like 70 frames, or it was like 70 or 75 frames or some shit that I hit during the operation, which is like fucking unheard of for us to be able to have that many frames in an official operation with 60 people in there. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, normally it's between, like, I don't know, you probably get a lot higher, but for me it's like, I'll be happy to get 30, or 28 or something like that during like crazy shit, especially during in towns and that kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because even though, yeah, I have a better system, ArmA don't really give a fuck. Like, that's kind of the...
Did you just freaking hit that guy with a 40 mic?
Oh yeah, and apparently it was a friendly. But yeah, that's always been kind of my norm, or kind of my goal, is to be at 30 while I'm streaming. Like, I'm happy with a fucking cock solid 30 frames while I'm streaming. That's good enough for me. I can play like that. But lately it has been better. Granted, lately we're not using as many objects and shit like that on the map, so that's helped a lot as well. So I'm able to, get more like 40 to 50 frames while I'm streaming, which is really fucking nice. So it's definitely been a noticeable improvement as of late. My frames have definitely been better. So in terms of other stuff that's been going on, we talked about this briefly before we went live. And I'm not going to say more in the know on this stuff, but you've played, I guess you've played the games more than I have and so on. We were talking about the kind of shitstorm that's going on right now with Angry Joe, and people kind of being all up in his shit about some of the comments he made in terms of Battlefield 5. Now, first I want to ask you, because you're one of the few, not really fans, but you're one of the few people I know that still plays Battlefield and so on. Like you and Cope are probably the two people I know that still play Battlefield. Um, are you looking forward to Battlefield 5 at all? Like, is it something that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pick that up, when it comes out, or is it just kind of whatever for you right now?
Watching the videos of Battlefield, it looks great. Like the shooting looks great as always. Kind of a little bit of a Battlefield 1 reskin. Um, it looks fun. The snow looks really great. The gunplay, everything, the sounds especially. Battlefield's always been known for really, really good weapon sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff is really good. Am I quick to buy it? I want to say yes because I've bought pretty much every Battlefield game, but EA are dicks. So I kind of want to send a message and just get it on sale again, like I did with Battlefield 1.
Right, I can understand that. Yeah, it is a very good looking game, that's for sure. Like you had mentioned the snow. That was something that stood out to me and Loster when we watched the kind of reveal trailer or whatever, was like the snow falling off the roof when the fucking
Yeah.
tank ran through the building. That that was like the first thing that I noticed, Loster noticed, his wife noticed, like all of us noticed that snow falling off the fucking rooftop, which seems trivial, but like you don't see that level of detail in games. Um, so anybody that doesn't know Angry Joe, um, I always dug his channel. He did, these things called Angry Reviews, where he basically tore the game apart and was very critical, but critical in the right way. Like he wasn't just, an asshole about it just to be an asshole. He was critical about the right things and so on. Um, and he's always been a huge proponent of not pre-ordering anything. Never fucking pre-order a game. Don't give them your money before they've earned it, basically. Uh, and he's, like I said, he's been a huge proponent of that. I mean, he's one of the fucking biggest flag bearers for that in the gaming industry that I know of. So it was reported recently that the pre-sales for Battlefield 5 are really, really weak right now. Like the weakest they've been. And apparently Angry Joe released a video. I started to watch the video, and honestly, I didn't want to watch it anymore because it was just very, I don't know, it was just kind of vile, and it was just like, yeah, dude, I don't want to watch you go down this road. I've got a little too much respect for you. I don't really want to see you in this light right now. Um, but he was basically calling out a bunch of people for, saying that they weren't pre-ordering the game because they didn't like the fact that women were put in the game, and basically making it out like everybody that wasn't pre-ordering Battlefield was just doing it because they were fucking misogynistic and racist and this and that. And yeah, it was very weird. And a lot of people freaked the fuck out because they're like, dude, you're the person that has always told people not to pre-order a game, and now when people aren't pre-ordering a game, you're like on their dicks about it, and saying that we shouldn't that we should be fucking pre-ordering the game, and we shouldn't be happy that the Battlefield series is dying and so on. Um, which I don't really understand. I
I
don't
mean,
think the Battlefield series is dying. I don't for a
no.
second think that it's dying. I think that, you know, if anything, it's hopefully going to be kind of like along the lines of Assassin's Creed. They had a very, very poor performance, and they said, shit, we need to go back to the drawing board and rethink this, take a year off, and then they came back with Origins, and it was good. Now they made the same exact mistake and immediately came out with fucking whatever this new one is. I can't even remember the name of it now, where you're playing in Greece or whatever. And a lot of people freaked out, and they're like, dude, you're just reusing the same assets that you just had in the game a year prior. There is no fucking change at all in your game. Well, they just announced like this week Assassin's Creed is going to be taking another year off before they do another game because they realized, fuck, we moved too quick. And I'm hoping Battlefield will do the same thing. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the Battlefield games, I never really play them. I did play the Battlefield 3 that had the really good storyline. I can't remember. But I still don't want to see the game die. Like, I don't want to see the franchise pull a Medal of Honor and just fucking disappear off the shelves. But I would like to see them take a year off and up their shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that the only reason I can see Angry Joe saying the things he was saying is because he was like you said that he was afraid that if the sales are low, they're never going to make another Battlefield. That's just simply not the case. There's no way that EA would just be like, well, that didn't work out, on to the next thing, because it's been a franchise for so long. If anything, if it's got low sales, it'll show them that the direction they're taking the game is not what people want.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that that's happening a lot. Like these game companies, like how hard is it to fuck up a Battlefield game? Don't put weird shit in it. Make the combat good. Make it smooth. Make sure there's no like latency issues. That's pretty much it, And they add all this other weird shit, and people are like, "What is this? This is not, why I started playing Battlefield and stuff like that." And then, they'll speak with their wallet.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we had talked about that exec, whoever the fuck he was from EA. That was it in a press conference or was it at an announcement, or do you know when it was he said that about if you don't like it, don't buy it? Or was that on like Twitter or some stupid other fucking place where people open their mouths when they shouldn't be?
It was during an interview, I think, with Games Biz or something like that. I can't remember. It was some big game developers site, and they were doing an interview, and the guy was like, yeah, talking about that, and he's like, the only thing I can say is if you don't either accept it or don't buy it. And that's a terrible thing for any company to tell their their people.
That's fine for like for someone like me, and someone comes in the stream and is like, this is fucking retarded, and I'm like, okay, then get the fuck out. If you don't like it, leave.
Yeah,
it's different when you're talking about one of the largest games companies on the fucking planet, and one of the largest game series on the planet, and you're like, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Like, dude, you have to understand how insulting that is, because it's basically telling your fucking fans, we don't give a shit what you think, we're just going to do whatever we want. 2, you realize that in today's age, troll has become a fucking species on this planet. And it is almost all people have converted to that species of troll. Like I mentioned to you before we went live, we elected fucking Donald Trump as a president, I'm pretty sure, as the largest troll of this century. I think that's what it was. So if you're going to tell people, if you don't like our game, don't buy it, they're going to buy it just out of spite to say, yeah, well, we're going to fuck with you. Guess what? Nobody's going to buy your game now.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to chime in real quick what Heckman was saying. Why is it terrible? They were specifically talking about women. The thing is that, there is a group of people who are assholes, and it's not about the fact that there's women in the game necessarily. What it is what I told you earlier, is that Battlefield 1 was marketed, and the game itself has a more serious tone to it. They tell about how many people die, all these things that are going on. So it had a very serious tone. So then Battlefield 5 comes out, which is World War II. So people are kind of expecting to have it more of that, the same serious tone. And now you have like all these things like painted faces and prosthetic limbs and just shit that wasn't in Battlefield 1. So they're confused. They're like, why are you, why are you doing this?
Did the executive say, if you don't like women in our game, don't buy it? Is that what he said? I thought he just said, if you don't like our game, don't buy it, or something along those lines.
No, if you don't accept what we're doing with the game, basically, if you don't either accept what we're doing with the game or don't buy it, is pretty much the
okay. Well, I know that was like one of the big things that people were talking about, saying that, everybody that's not pre-ordering this game and this and that. And that was one of the things that Angry Joe had mentioned in his video, that, that's why people weren't pre-ordering the game, is because it had females in the game. And I don't know if I can get behind that. I don't know if that very vocal fucking minority that's like, fuck this, there's women in the game and this and that. I don't know if that vocal minority makes up the majority of people who are not pre-ordering. Because they're saying, that this is the lowest pre-sales they've had in recent history and so on and so forth. I don't know if that makes up the majority of that group.
No,
That's
like
kind of that's my thought on it. Is I don't think that's what it is. I don't think the majority of people who aren't pre-ordering it are pissed off because there's women in the game.
no, it's not. Because look at Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 has women in it. There's, a Russian expansion where there were female Russian snipers, right?
Mm.
And no one cared. So it's not about the women. It's fine that women are in the game. It's these characters who have all this like ridiculous shit, like the face paint. They
Well,
look like Vikings and stuff like that. And it's just like I get it that it's a game, but it's weird for the fan base, I think.
face paint isn't really that uncommon.
But
Kind of the Braveheart shit is a little bit, but
that's what it is.
um,
Yeah, it's like blue and pink, and it's
and
really weird.
real quick, Farriers, thank you for that 2 month resub, bud. I appreciate that. Uh, but I mean, obviously for you, for whatever reason that, sorry, you don't want to pre-order is, whatever reason you don't want to. Uh, but I think Heckman might be right there. That I don't necessarily think it's Battlefield as much as we may be assuming. Like, if people just don't want this style of Battlefield as much. Granted, that may be a good portion of it, but at the same time, I do think a lot of people are just plain fed up with EA and still pissed off at EA over the Battlefront bullshit and all of that. And people are saying, "Yeah, we're just not going to give EA our money."
Yeah,
I
I agree
do
with that
think
too, for sure.
that's a big reason, and I can't say that I'm upset with that. Like, it's not Dice's fault. It's not Battlefield's fault that EA pulled the shit that they actually. I think Dice did work on Battlefront, didn't they? I don't know. Um, but at the end of the day, it is still EA. It's still their company, so on and so forth, and people are you know making it known the only way that they can by not buying one of their products. Does it suck for Dice? Yeah, absolutely, because they're kind of getting pigeonholed into all of this EA bullshit. But I'm kind of glad that if that's the case and EA realizes, like, oh man, we really fucking screwed the pooch. Like, we're now suffering in other game titles because of something that we did over here. We gotta fix this. Like, we gotta make this right. Um, I hope that happens. I
Hmm.
really do. Um, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's a possibility that's maybe what's going on?
Oh, I think it's a really good possibility. Yeah, I mean that. I think that's 50, maybe even more than 50% of it is people are just they're hating EA. They're seeing through all their corporate bullshit. All their rhetoric and just all the shit they say is just false. They say, "Oh, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this," and then they lie about it, and then people get mad. So this
Mm.
is the backlash.
Yeah, I, I don't know. I would be. I'd be happy if that was the case. If we see a change come because of this. But at the same time, it does suck for Dice. Um, it's one of those, like, I mean, shit. Dice. Granted, probably nobody left there anymore, but Dice are some of the guys that the the origins of Dice basically is Medal of Honor. One of my favorite game series of all times. Um, if you guys have never seen the video on the rise and fall of Medal of Honor by gamers, watch that video. It's like 20, 30 minutes long or so. And it's fucking awesome to see what those guys did in terms of Medal of Honor and kind of creating this whole genre of military shooters. It started with Medal of Honor, who eventually ended up becoming Battlefield and Dice and so on. That all originated really with Medal of Honor. So I definitely recommend going to watch that video. Like I said, it's called The Rise and Fall of Medal of Honor, and they've got a couple of really good ones on there. They've got the Rise and Fall of Half Life and the Rise and Fall of Command and Conquer, which is really good. Which is another fucking game series that EA fucking murdered. Um, fucking
Didn't they also
assholes, dude.
murder Dead Space? Like,
Yeah.
weren't they making a new Dead Space, and then they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
well,
they
this
were in
isn't
the
good
middle of
enough.
making the new fucking game, and they shut the studio down.
Yeah.
Which is just like, what? Fucking what? I don't know. But the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and this is something that you told me about a little bit before we went live, is there's been a recent change up at one of my favorite channels, and that is Pretty Good
Oh,
Gaming.
yeah.
For those of you guys that have never heard of Pretty Good Gaming, they're basically a news group or some. They do a lot. They do gaming news videos on YouTube.
Yeah, news journalism,
Yeah,
basically.
and I love them. Like I say, it's
Yep.
one of my favorite channels on YouTube. It's who I got pretty much all of my gaming news from. And they lost a couple of their guys. Was that this week or last week, or do you know?
Sorry, say that again?
Was that this week that that those guys had to depart from Pretty Good Gaming,
Uh,
or
it's been recently, I think, because they've come up with a few videos where it's just Gaz on there, and then in the comments, people are like, "Hey, where's Mike? Where's
yeah,
the tall guy?" Because maybe they
yeah,
don't remember his name. And where's Jake? And there was nothing. It was quiet. And then I think it was just today or yesterday they released a tweet about how they're no longer with Pretty Good Gaming. So there's no more Mike, Jake, or I can't remember the other guy's name. He was an editor. So that sucks.
yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I fucking like those guys. I like Mike, uh, Jake. I always dug because Jake's tattooed up and shit. So I always kind of dug that dude. Um, but yeah, basically though they had to leave Pretty Good Gaming and basically go get jobs because they were doing Pretty Good Gaming full time. That was that was their job. And then with the recent changes with YouTube, they just weren't getting the revenue that was needed to be able to pay multiple people full time jobs. Uh, and they said in that tweet that they had went from was it like 6 million average views per month
To
to
2.5.
to 2.5. So almost a third of what they were getting before. Uh, how is that possible? How do you lose 2/3 of your viewership that quickly?
Yeah, it's something to do with the YouTube algorithm, I think they said, or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, basically their videos were aren't showing up in the recommended section and shit like that as much as it should have been, and things along those lines. Which for big channels like that, like you depend on things like that to draw new people into the channel. For like for me, even for Twitch, obviously it's different than YouTube, but still for Twitch, or I rely on word of mouth. I rely on guys going to Drum's channel and me being in his multi Twitch and them checking that out, and then coming to my channel and seeing it, liking it, follow it, whatever, so on and so forth. But with YouTube, bigger channels like that, yeah, you rely on word of mouth as well. But at the same time, you rely on your video popping up in that recommended, hey, this is what we recommend to watch next. And if it's not, you're fucking losing out. And they lost out a lot. And as a result, had to, a couple of guys had to leave. Which, like I said, is really disappointing. I love that channel. Now the channel's still there. Gaz is still doing videos, like you said,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, he owns the company, so I
I
think
don't
he
know
had to.
how he can keep up though, because those guys were doing a lot of fucking videos. I mean, everything gaming related. Those guys were on it. I mean, they were instantly putting up videos and stuff. And I mean, even from doing this podcast and keeping up with some of the news with this, it takes a lot of time, like a lot of research to get, the quotes and who was doing what, so on and so forth. And he doesn't have that backup now. Like he doesn't have that help to do the research and the editing and shit like that.
Well, even the podcast, like I don't even think they can
Yeah.
do podcasts anymore because he doesn't have anyone to, to banter with.
Yeah. That shit, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because their podcasts were great, man. I love their podcasts.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
sad because I would watch them every single day. Then I heard this and kind of stung, man. Like, I got to know them a little bit. You watch them every day. It's like you get familiar with them, right? And all of a sudden, just like, yeah, they're gone. It's just one guy left.
Yeah, that's
So
fucking rough, dude. I mean, it sucks not only from the sense that I'm a fan, and I like their channel, but it just sucks when guys that have been doing this for that long and were, making a steady income and able to make a living out of this, and then like basically overnight it's gone. They're
yeah,
not
like
able to.
Gareth Evans, I think his name
Hmm.
is. He was paying them out of pocket, like from his own family, like savings and stuff like that, in order to pay them for as long as he could. And then he said that his wife just said it's just not sustainable anymore. Like we can't keep doing this. So
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, and I know like that was the case for Drum too. Like when all of this shit happened with YouTube, it was for him. It was basically like getting fired from a full time job. I mean, it
Yeah.
really was. That's how big of a revenue loss there suddenly was. It was like you going to work tomorrow and your boss saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to need you today or ever again. You can go ahead and go home."
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
It
It's
just goes to show, like having your own business, it could, because of things out of your control, it could fail, at any time. Um, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I've always been fairly open with that, on the channel in terms of yes, I do this full time. No, it's not the only source of income. If it was, I would be fucking homeless right now. Um, but that's one of the scary things about it is how unstable it is. Because there's some months where, yeah, you could do $1,000+ no problem. There's other months where I make $200 in a month.
Yep.
You know, that's really scary when you're trying to do that, and that's your only source of income. I couldn't imagine it. I mean, really, you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't make this a full time thing, like your only source of income, if that's how unstable it was. Like, I wouldn't be able to do this, like I said, if there wasn't another source of income. Um, but that's how up and down it can be, though, especially at a small level like mine. It's even more so up and down. It's not like giant streamers who have thousands and thousands of people watching them, who they get donations just so people can ask them a question, because it's the only way you can you know converse with the streamer, because the chat's moving so fast they can't read it. uh which is actually another one of the reasons that Co Carnage is like one of my favorite, actually probably is my favorite streamer on all of Twitch. Is, yeah, that dude gets donations, and answers questions and stuff like that, but he makes an effort to actually read his chat. Even though it's moving stupid fucking fast, he can have 15,000 people watching him. He will still make a conscious effort to read his chat and answer questions, and try to converse with the people in his chat, and not read 50 fucking donations in a row and not say a damn thing to anybody in chat. I
Hmm.
love that about that dude. Um, and
I
like
think
it's,
the
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that I think the only thing you can do in the situation of uh, having doing your own business and stuff is to have a nest egg, to continue saving up in case it falls apart, for those rainy days. And I think
Yeah,
that's probably the only thing, or invest it in something else.
yeah, I know Weewu does that. He does like a lot of investing and shit like that. Um, but that's actually something that I wanted to talk about on a previous podcast. Me and Lobster were talking about streaming and shit like that, and we just never got to it. Uh, but I wanted to talk about kind of streamers in general, and kind of who we enjoy, why we enjoy them, and stuff like that. What kind of sets them apart from everybody else. Um, and I don't know how. how often you watch streams or Twitch or anything like that. Uh, but who for you right now, just kind of off the top of your head, kind of stands out as a streamer that you like really enjoy watching?
Um, that's a tough question because, like you said, I don't really watch streams like for hours or anything like that. I'll hop into various streams like this one guy named Milton T Pike One does GTA 5 RP, and he
Oh, is
just
that the
has
guy
this.
you and Loster are always fucking the
He's just
what shit or whatever?
yeah.
Or
He's just
heh?
got this really yeah. He's got this really funny character, and not everything he does is like hilarious, but he's a really personable guy. He used to be in the Canadian military, and he's doing this as a career. He's also going in for environmental science. He's in university for that. I don't know. He's a really good guy, so I catch him every once in a while. And of course, Sheriff Eli, who he's friends with, is a great streamer. Co-Carnage, like you said. Um, and then smaller streams. I hop into a lot of smaller streams because lots of times, they need help, right? Like every view counts to bump you
Hmm.
up the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ko is probably my top one. He's the one I watch more than pretty much anybody else. Um, and there's quite a few games that he plays that I really don't even give a shit about, but every so often I'll still hop in there just to, hop in there. Not that he needs me as a fucking viewer when he's got, 18,000 people watching, but, whatever. Um, the other one I like to watch, especially more recently, is Gold Glove. Um, because he's generally got a pretty positive attitude, which is weird. I like to watch streamers that have positive attitudes, which is odd because I generally don't have a positive attitude. I'm generally like, yeah, fuck off. But I like to watch streamers that have positive attitudes. I don't know. It's
You
weird.
need that balance, man. The yin to the yang.
Yeah. And yes, what the Heckman? He's one of my favorites. No, honest. The fucked up thing is, even though Heckman's my friend, I love watching Heckman streams because he's one of those people with a positive attitude, and his laugh makes me laugh. So I like watching Heckman because when he starts laughing, I start laughing, and when he starts wheezing, I just lose it. So he's one of those, like last night they were doing a fucking little like pick up squirrel mission, and I was sitting there watching his stream the entire time because Heckman was actually streaming, so I was taking advantage of it. But yeah, like I was saying, Goldie, I watch him quite a bit more recently. For a while, I didn't really care for watching his stuff because he was doing a lot of drunk streams, um, and I really,
Who's
really don't
Goldie?
like that. Gold Glove TV. I really, I gained a lot of respect for that kid after watching some of his MLB videos. He plays Road to the Show or whatever every year. And what he does that made me gain a lot of respect for him is every year he does a full run through the series of playing MLB, and every mistake that he makes, whether he gets struck out or gets thrown into a double play or whatever, costs him money, a set amount of money. Like I think it's $5 if he gets struck out. And all of that money goes into a pool. And at the end of the season, the money in that pool is donated to his local little league team for new equipment and shit like that because baseball was a huge part of his life. And I gained like a massive amount of respect for him because of him doing that. And I thought that was just cool as shit, that, and there's guys in the stream that'll donate and say, hey, this is for the kids, and basically add it to the pool of money that you're going to be giving to them. And pretty much every year, he's giving this little league thousands of dollars every year,
Hmm.
which is cool as shit. But like I said, there for a while, I didn't like watching his stuff because he would do a lot of drunk streams, and I don't like that. Like, I don't drink, and I don't like drunk people. They just piss me off because they're
Did he get
just,
really rode off when he was streaming?
eh, it
Or
get
getting
pretty,
kind of
yeah,
retarded?
it get pretty rough sometimes.
Uh,
Um, and I don't like that. I don't like seeing people do that to themselves. I just drunk people annoy me. Um, but
Why are you friends with me? I'm drunk half the time
yeah,
I talk to
yeah, but
you.
you're not a fucking belligerent drunk who's like slurring his words and acting like a fucking douchebag and yelling and screaming and shit.
Good point.
Uh, and not that he was like yelling and screaming and like being an asshole. It was just he was very excitable and would yell and stuff like that. And it's like, you can tell that, you know, he's inebriated, and it's like, this isn't
Yeah, losing
entertaining,
control.
dude. Like, yeah, it's sad for me to watch because he's quite a bit younger than me, and like I know where that fucking road ends up. But luckily, you know, that has changed, and he doesn't do that anymore, which I'm really fucking happy for. I wish, you know, I could have the opportunity to like actually sit down and talk to the kid and, you know, be like, look, you know, obviously you're much farther on in your fucking streaming career than I'll ever be, but I've been, you know, down the path you were fucking going, and you got out at the right time, because otherwise you were gonna end up fucking dead, or, you know, in a place you didn't want to fucking be. And, you know, I know because of fucking reasons. So I'm super, you know, super happy that he has since turned things around. And once again, I love watching his streams. And like I said, I watch his MLB videos, and I don't even play the fucking game. In fact, I don't even like baseball, which is fucking
I was gonna ask you,
ridiculous.
do you even like baseball
No,
or
I
softball?
fucking hate baseball. I think it's one of the most boring goddamn games on the planet to watch. Like, I will not watch any sports on TV, but I'll watch this motherfucker for hours on end playing MLB, the show, the fucking video game. I can't explain why. It's just entertaining to me. I don't get it, but it's entertaining, and I'll sit there and watch it for fucking hours. It's so fucking odd, and uh, it was much so the same uh, with Co playing Detroit Become Human. Did you ever check that? Like, see anything on that game, that Detroit Become Human game?
Yeah, I saw some stuff. It looked really interesting, but it's only for console.
Dude, it blew my fucking mind. I sat there and watched Co's like 8.5 hour stream playing all the way through it. And at no point in time did I want to like get up and go play the game myself or anything like that. I wanted to see his story of it. And it was fucking, it was absolutely awesome. Same thing with God of War. You know, I still want to play God of War, but at the same time, I don't feel it necessary for me anymore because I watched Ko's full playthrough of it. I watched Goldie's full playthrough of it, and that was what was really important about that game to me, was the storyline. So I got to see both their perspectives, and Ko was very much so more serious about it, and, you know, his playthrough, and Goldie, well, Goldie kind of sucks at video games to the point that sometimes you're like, how in the fuck did you, you know, miss that, or how did you screw that up? But it's still entertaining, so I watch, you know, his full playthrough of it as well. Um, but that's the other thing I wanted to mention is, you know, not just Twitch. I don't really spend that much time on Twitch in comparison to YouTube. I watch more YouTube than I do regular TV or anything like that. I don't even watch regular TV. Like, I watch Netflix or Amazon. I don't do regular TV all that often. Um, but I watch a fuck ton of YouTube. Uh, Pretty much all day I'm on YouTube watching different shows and stuff like that are available on YouTube. One of the big ones that I watch that isn't available on Roadkill anymore. You have to watch it on Motor Trend on Demand, which I got lucky and paid for a subscription once, and they've never charged me again for it, which is really fucking nice. Something fucked up with their system. I'm fine with that. But it's called Roadkill. And it's basically just these guys, vast majority of the time, pulling a car out of a junkyard that's a total piece of shit, and then getting it running and driving, and then they road trip it a couple thousand miles, which sounds fucking retarded, but it's amazing. Uh, but yeah, I spend more time on YouTube than I do anything else. And I was curious, like, is it kind of the same for you? Do you find yourself watching more YouTube or more TV or what?
Oh, I haven't turned on my TV in like 5 years, I don't think. Uh, yeah, it's all, Netflix and pretty much YouTube, or I will quote unquote download something to watch, movie or whatever, and just turn it on. So mostly TV series, I find. Like I'll go through like The Wire all the way through, and then
Yeah,
I'll go on.
I'll do that. Like, I'm currently on another fucking watch through of Band of Brothers, which I usually do once or twice a year. I end up watching all the way through Band of Brothers, which is now available on Amazon Prime, which is nice. Both Band of Brothers and Generation Kill are available on there, which are kind of my two go-to series.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think the only thing new or newish right now that I watch is Yellowstone.
What's
And
that one?
oh, Yellowstone is fucking amazing. Um, I've been telling pretty much everybody to fucking watch it immediately. Kevin Costner is the lead in it, and he plays a ranch farmer in like one of the Dakotas or Wyoming or some shit like that.
Oh,
Uh,
Kevin Costner's back.
yeah, dude.
Nice.
It's I've been telling everybody that it's basically open range in modern times. So if you like the movie Open Range, you'll probably like this. Uh, but it is fucking amazing, dude. And it's on Paramount Network or some shit like that. I don't know. I sail the high seas and watch it. Um, but it is the best show on TV right now, in my opinion. Uh, Mostly because fucking Billions and Game of Thrones are on break, so I can't watch those. Um, Heckman said, "Mom's loves Yellowstone." That's because your mom is awesome and knows what good shit is. So listen to your mother and watch it, and listen to me and watch it. But yeah, I highly, highly fucking recommend it, dude. Costner is awesome in it. Absolutely fucking awesome, as he is in
Yeah,
everything.
I can't remember the last movie I ever saw him in. Actually, I'm looking forward to checking that out.
I think the last thing I seen him in was Convict. I think that was the name of
Hmm.
it, Convict, where he had like somebody else's mind in his head or some shit like that. Um, I think that was it. Um, I thought you were my mom. Fuck no, I'm not cool enough to be your mom. See, that's the thing is that I've heard enough stories about your mom to know she's a total badass, and I can't quite reach that level yet. Uh, so no. Um, but when it comes to uh, YouTube, Twitch, so on and so forth, watching that content and so on, um, when it comes to you streaming yourself, do you, because you stream on Twitch, do you export any of that, or does any of your streams ever go on to YouTube or anything?
No. I haven't actually put any work into my YouTube channel. I've been meaning to do that. I kind of messed around with it a little bit the other day, but yeah,
Honestly,
just haven't done it yet. I'd like to, but I've heard horror stories like what we were just talking about. About
yeah,
the
at
amount of
this
work you
point,
put in.
I don't know if it's worth it. I honestly don't. Because even Twitch, like now, Twitch, you can upload videos to Twitch. Like if you record a video right now, you can upload it to Twitch. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
live. Um,
yeah, and then you can do like a release for it or whatever.
yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, I honestly don't know if it's worth it, especially if you don't have a YouTube established. Uh, I don't think it really is worth it. For me, I use it just for my podcast now, so I have a way to give my Patreons early access to the podcast. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't use my YouTube at all anymore.
Yeah, if it's an additional source of revenue, it's not the sole source of revenue. It could work, depending on, again, like you said, how much work you have to put into um, to doing it. To get
Well,
that
I mean,
return back.
yeah, for it to be a source of income, I mean, it's got to be way more than uh, what I currently get. I don't make any income off of it.
Yeah, it's like 1,000 views or something will start getting you a little bit or something, right?
I don't know. It might get you a couple of bucks, maybe.
Oh,
I think honestly, I think right because I have a couple videos that have I have one that's got a little over 1,000 views and a couple that are getting close to 1,000 views, which still isn't shit. But I think my revenue or whatever's sitting in my YouTube right now is a grand total of like $13.
oh, Jesus! I remember we were talking about that in a different podcast a while back about YouTube and how whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah, it's just it's not at my level, and I don't think I'll ever get to a level to where it is worth it with the kind of downhill trend of YouTube and so on. I don't think I'll ever get to the level where it's really worth it, not in comparison to Twitch.
Hmm.
That's kind of the goal now in terms of Twitch is just keep working and keep streaming and try to get to that point where I can get partnered. And then then it's kind of good to go from there. Um, and that's still a long, long ways out to be able to get partnered. Uh, yeah, you're happy if you get over 100 views. Honestly, so am I. I get over 100 views on, the Twitch VOD or whatever, most of the time, but, YouTube is just, it's not really worth it. It's, it's definitely more so in my favor to continue putting work towards the Twitch side of things and trying to get partnered. And very quickly, pulse off with the 10 spot. Thank you for that, bud. Sorry I missed that when it happened, but I appreciate that very much so right now. So yeah, right now it's really a matter of trying to get partnered, which is very fucking difficult when I stream kind of odds and ends and stuff like that. Like even with this podcast, like the podcast actually hurts my chances of getting partnered, which sounds silly because it's another stream, but the only thing right now that's holding me back from getting partnered is having an average of 75 viewers, which I can't do with, the podcast or, with doing other streams. ArmA is the only way I could potentially do that. And even then, I'm a little short right now. I probably average 40, maybe 50 viewers on a good ArmA stream. So I'm still a little short on that, but I'll never be able to. Well, I won't say never, but not anytime soon will I be able to achieve, an average of 75 viewers when I do a podcast once a week that only gets 20 viewers. But that's fine for me. I'm not willing to give up the podcast just to get partnered. That's not really something I'm cool with. Oh, and here's the part in the video of Sergeant Vincent just kind of hanging out, having a little load off, and Sergeant Lore decided to come and join us and take a little break from the firefight that we were in. Oh yeah, and then who was that one? I forget who that one was. Gigliotti. He came and joined us as well. If you guys haven't seen this clip, again, check it out. It's on the channel here. The clip of this going down in the game. It was pretty ridiculous. So I do have a question for you guys in chat right now, and that question is: when it comes to streamers and so on, what is it that kind of, I guess, kind of hooks you guys? What is it that kind of draws you guys in and keeps you interested in that streamer? And I'm not necessarily meaning me because you're sitting here watching me right now, but like other streamers, like what is it that hooks you with that streamer? Is it, the quality of their stream, their video quality, their sound quality? Is it their personality? Is it, the fact that they're playing a game that you like and you want to see that game, or, so on and so forth? Like what really pulls you in to watch that streamer and continue watching that streamer? Because that's something that I've talked about a few times, maybe not on stream, but I've talked about with people that while video and audio quality is very, very important to me, especially audio quality, personality is always going to be a huge draw for me. One of the people who I don't really watch so much anymore, but I used to watch a lot, was Chinglish, who is a WoW streamer. I was actually just watching him last night for the first time in a while. And that dude's personality like instantly hooked me. And I watched him for a long, long time when I was still playing Warcraft. Just because of the personality that he had. His gameplay wasn't necessarily fucking remarkable or anything like that. Like, he was good. He wasn't a piece of shit or anything. But his personality is what really fucking drew me in. They give me the power to ban people. Yeah, pretty much. Streamers who are genuine, can be themselves, and are not idiotic assholes. Well, fuck, I'm out of the mix there. I got the idiotic asshole part covered. Streamer doesn't have an annoying voice. Well, I'm out of there as well. Why the fuck are you guys still sitting here watching this? I've already failed 2 of these. Personality has to be a top factor. Depends on the stream and not being full of themselves. Okay. I guess I could see that. Not being kind of Like I could see, guys like fucking Summit 1G or guys like that just being super cocky because they do have so many people watching them, and that being kind of a turnoff. Personality is what keeps you coming back. Yeah.
I think humor is a big thing. Like if I find a streamer funny, or they're doing something that's funny, I think that's for everything though. If somebody's funny and charismatic, you want to keep watching what's going to happen next. What are they going to say next?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's of course part of the personality of it. Personality and not trying to do fake accents. Oh god, you must hate fucking wee woo. Uh, Shroud is an utter clammy bottom and has average of 30k viewers per stream.
It is a hard one to crack. Yeah, it's really tough to call because
Donnie, can you try English this time? What the fuck is a clammy bottom? I don't speak fucking Irish. That was a clammy bottom.
Bottom is like a sweaty
themselves?
ass. Sweaty ass. I think something like that. Swamp ass.
Well, I know what swamp ass is, but what does that mean in terms of somebody's fucking personality? Oh, boring as fuck. Okay. I was like, what the fucking what? Does it mean he doesn't wipe properly or what? Yeah, if Weebu's fake accents were any good, it would be bearable. No, I would probably still want to shoot him every time he does it. Yeah, Heckman and Hammond never fail to crack you up. Yes, that's why I talked about this on the last podcast when Heckman was on here, and I was telling Locke about it last night. That's why it's difficult for me to do ArmA if Heckman is there, or even Hammer sometimes if we fill in together. If it's the fucking trifecta of retardation of Hammer, Heckman, and Hammond, I'm done. It's not going to be a serious stream. I mean, no matter how much I try to make it a serious mission, it's not going to happen. If those three fucking idiots are in there with me, we're bound to get yelled at for laughing at things, which is good. I love that from the gameplay side of it because it makes it that much funner. But at the same time, it's like, God damn it, you motherfuckers are too distracting to play this with. But I do enjoy that. Even though Drum may get a little upset with us at times. He actually, I don't know if I've ever told you about it, Locke, but he actually straight up yelled at us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't even remember what the fuck we were doing, honestly, but we were laughing our asses off, and Drum was fucking yelling at us for not taking it seriously because we were laughing so goddamn hard. I don't even remember what the hell it was. We were just talking about it on the last podcast, but yeah, it's not the first time that we've gotten yelled at for laughing at stupid shit. So, the last thing I want to go over here real quick, because we are gonna wrap this up here in a minute because I have some other obligations to take care of. Wow. Other known as World of Warcraft. As many of you guys know, I played Warcraft for a long time. If you don't know, I'm sure that sounds shocking, especially if you've seen pictures of me on the forums. But yes, I played Warcraft for just short of 6 years or so. And I played it pretty seriously. I was pretty serious into raiding and so on. Was pretty high in rankings and stuff like that on some of the raid fights and so on. When I quit, I had just been accepted into Elitist Jerks as one of their primary DPS, which anybody that knows World of Warcraft knows the Elitist Jerks sites. They actually run a raid team on Kill Jaden. And I had been accepted into there, like I said, as one of their primary DPS, and that's kind of when I hit that burnout point and quit. I haven't played in 4 years. However, the new expansion dropped on the 12th or the 14th, something like that. Battle for Azeroth expansion. And there's been a bunch of changes and so on and so forth. And honestly, I've been pretty bored as of late. There hasn't been a whole lot to play kind of on a regular basis, which is one of the reasons why you guys seen like a 7.5 hour long fucking Call of Duty stream the other day, because I was bored and I've got to work, I've got to stream, I got to try and make money. So I've been toying around with the idea of going back to playing Warcraft a little bit. As most of you guys probably know, Drum has gone back to playing Warcraft. I don't know necessarily how much I would be playing with Drum, because Drum is very much so into PvP, and I am not anymore. I used to be very, very serious into PvP. I mean, like staying up until 5 a.m. waiting for server to reset so you could cap on conquest points at the start of the week. I got to like 2250 or whatever rating in twos, and when I first started playing, that was very serious for me, was PvP. And I don't like how it makes me feel. I guess
you rage.
Yeah, I get really fucking worked up, dude. Like, I'll rip through a fucking pack of cigarettes in no time doing PvP. I get so fucking worked up, and it gets real personal real quick. And I don't really like doing that. I don't like getting that fucking worked up. Like, you guys think you've seen me pissed off in ArmA. You have not seen me pissed off. You've seen me agitated. But you haven't seen me legitimately pissed off, like ready to fucking punch somebody.
What I will say is Blizzard has the innate ability in their games to totally piss you off.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at StarCraft, look at Overwatch, Diablo, anything. You just
and
fucking
I've never been one of those people that'll like smash a mouse or a keyboard or fucking throw my headset or any stupid shit like that. I've never been that way. Like, even back in the day, playing like Sega and stuff, I never threw controllers or anything like that. But I'm not above getting up and wanting to fucking punch somebody. Like, get the fuck away from me, or you're gonna catch one to your fucking throat. So, and I don't like doing that. I don't like being like that. Despite what you guys think, I actually don't enjoy yelling. I talked about that before when me and Losser were talking about streaming. When I talk, I'm generally a fairly soft-spoken guy. I don't really raise my voice that much. Unless things are getting heated, which again I don't really like doing. So I don't like the way that PvP made me feel. So long short of it, I don't know how much per se I would be playing with Drum if I do come back, but I do have maybe hopefully the chance to play with Locke and Heckman and Hammond. Maybe, I don't know. They could just tell me to fuck off. I don't want to play with you. Played enough games with you. Please, for the love of God, leave me the fuck alone. But I would like to. So, again, it's just a possibility right now. I'm not real sure. The reason, more so than anything else, is just a possibility right now, is I'm concerned that if I get back into playing it, I'm going to once again take it too seriously and get too into it in terms of raiding, because that's what I enjoy doing. And I've never been able to raid casually. I can raid for a couple of months casually, and then I start getting to the point where it's like, okay, we should already have this down. Like, you guys need to up your shit. I'm working my ass off over here, and we're not getting this done because, this dude is fucking 20k DPS below where he needs to be. What the fuck is the problem? And I know that's like a total dick move. It's an elitist thing, so on and so forth, whatever. But at the same time, I'm one of those, like, if I'm putting in work, you better be putting in just as much work as I am. Which is why I always ended up in serious raiding guilds, because that's just kind of the mentality there. I don't know if I've, matured enough in the last like 4 or 5 years to not be like that anymore. Probably not, but
Well,
We'll see.
I don't think you'll get that hooked because, like I was saying to you last night, it doesn't. You don't have to put in quite as much time anymore to progress. You can do a few world quests and get some items that'll up your eye level and stuff like that. So it's
Well, I
not too
never
bad.
really necessarily put in that much work per se to progress. I wasn't on all day every day. Like I would get on, do my dailies, and that was it until raid night. Well,
Hmm.
we had 3 raid nights a week, but you know, I raided. That's all I did. I didn't do fucking mount runs and achievements and stuff. Basically, if it did not improve my DPS, I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't doing it. If it didn't
Yeah.
make my numbers bigger, I wasn't wasting my time with it. Uh, so it wasn't that I put in a lot of work in those terms. It's just I put in a lot of work in terms of knowing my class. I knew how to play my class better than anyone else. I dedicated 6 years to only playing that one character so that I knew it inside and out. Nobody could, explain to me better how to play this. Uh, and I did the research on the fights. I watched the videos. I knew the strats, so on and so forth. I knew the rotation that I needed to use to get absolute maximum damage out on each fight. And when other people didn't put in that kind of effort, it annoyed me. It's like, hey, I'm working my fucking ass off over here to get this done, and you're not. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Um,
It's usually if they weren't paying attention or,
yeah,
they were dicking around during a raid or something that would usually piss me off. Or, trying to do call outs, the tank's trying to do call outs and they're talking over them, talking about what they're having for dinner or something
yeah,
retarded.
exactly. That was one that always pissed me off. Was guys, joking or whatever. Like when we're in the middle of a fight and raid leaders trying to make calls, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like we're working here. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually got in trouble with one guild I was in because, and I was still in the unit at the time. This is like, I think at the start of Legion or something, I joined a guild and they were doing that. And yeah, I told the guy, I'm like, just not even like really loud or anything, just kind of like what we do here. I'm like, okay, let's focus, guys. And they got pissed off at me, like, oh, this guy's so serious.
Yeah,
So I was like, fucking Christ, this isn't gonna work.
yeah. That was always kind of the problem. Like me and the guys that I played with, we're all fairly what's the word I'm looking for? Um, fairly intense individuals.
Mhm.
Um, which isn't necessarily the same for everyone, obviously. Uh, so like when we would get new people into the guild, or when I would go to a new raiding guild, um, and something would be going on, like say we're getting ready to fucking pull, and the raid leaders calling for everybody to get their food and shit like that, and somebody's maybe dicking around, not doing what the fuck they're supposed to be doing, and I pipe up and like, hey, how about you shut the fuck up and do what you were told, and they're like, what? They're not prepared for the
Yeah.
level of asshole that I am. um so yeah, that can be a hard one to find a
Well,
crew of guys that you kind of fit with that aren't going to be like, wow, this guy's a dick.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same with me too. Like, I think maybe to my detriment, like I take games very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to do things the right way and stuff like that. And then there's a different side of it. Like Loster, will do funny things, right? Like just because it's funny. But whenever I play, I get pretty into stuff. So I don't think everyone's like that. Maybe it's the
Yeah,
half Japanese in me. I don't know.
I don't know. Even when we fucking, like when we were doing fucking oh fuck, what was that zombie game that me and Drum and Hammer were playing?
State of Decay.
Yeah, State of Decay. When we were doing State of Decay 2, like we did some really goofy shit in that game that normally we wouldn't do in something that we were taking seriously. Like fucking, I think Heckman like went AFK or something, and Drum fucking drove the truck up next to him and started honking the horn to attract a bunch of zombies to him,
I saw
and
that.
then like drove off, and we're fucking laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
But normally we wouldn't do shit like that. Again, I blame Heckman. When he's around, we basically all turn into fucking 15-year-old children. So it's his fault. But that we do need to wrap it up there, guys, because I do got, like I said, other shit that I got to go take care of. I definitely appreciate all of you guys being here. And Mike, Farriers, and Pulsoff, thank you guys for the support tonight. It's greatly fucking appreciated. And I'm trying to talk this asshole that's in here with me into doing his own podcast because he should. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But if you guys again don't realize who Locke is, he's that Shogo XS guy that you've seen popping up in chat here, even though we call him Locke. His Twitch name there is Shogo XS. So make sure you guys go check him out, give him a follow, and watch him play some games. But that's gonna wrap it up for me tonight, and we'll be back at it tomorrow, maybe for OSEP. We'll see if anybody gets signed up. I don't know. But if not, we'll definitely be back tomorrow night for Task Force Charlie's operation. Still in phase 1 of Operation Lionheart. I will be Task Force commanding tomorrow night. So yeah, at the very latest tomorrow, 2000, you guys will be able to catch some ArmA streaming here. And like I said, make sure you guys go check out the Lock and follow the beautiful Asian man that he is. So any parting words for your millions of fans out there, Locke?
No. It was great to be here. Thanks for having me again. It was fun.
All right, awesome. That's it, guys. Again, thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all later.